Hello and welcome. This is the Market Wrap. I am Agam Vakil. We have seen a strong day of trade today with the benchmark indices gaining as much as 200 odd points, at least as far as in Nifty is concerned, 272 odd points to be precise. And I want to start by taking a look at how we've seen the progression of things on the Nifty. So as you can see, this is the budget day where we eventually came off from around 12,000 mark. Eventually with Monday, we're seeing that weakness come through, languishing around there. And even though we did advance to a certain extent, it is today's day of trade that we've seen a gradual up move and have nearly gained back all the lost momentum that we saw on budget day last Saturday. Let's talk about a handful of stocks which were in focus in today's day of trade. And I'm going to start off with Titan because the earnings were in line with expectations. Growth of around 11% for the jewelry segment augured very well. Besides that, we also had good expansion in EBITDA margins, which was coming through. But I'm going to talk about Titan just a bit. Indian Oil Corp, Bajaj Finserv, Bharti Infratel, Hindalco, all of them advancing and giving the weightage in terms of gain. As in, we don't really have too much in terms of losers except for something like a Z Entertainment and Yes Bank. Your usual suspects. And Bajaj Auto and Eicher Motors probably reacting to your automotive sales. What about the broader markets? Look at that. Look at the advanced decline ratio. It's nearly 4-1 on the NSE 500, with the likes of Shilpa Medicare at one point in time locked in at 20% upper circuit, Honeywell Automation, Aegis Logistics, Godfrey Phillips, Bajaj Electricals, all of them advancing with good momentum, with double-digit growth on today's day of trade. Glaxo, on the other hand, is under a tad bit of pressure, down 12%. We had pressure on Soba, J&K Bank, as well as Manappuram Finance. This is largely on account of the fact that we did see an offer for sale. And Gayatri Projects continues to dwindle downwards, but not too much to speak for otherwise. We do have some usual suspects on the losers list. But on that note, let me get in our market editor, Neeraj Shah, for his thoughts on the markets today. Neeraj, recovery is for everyone to see, and it's certainly turned out to be a very good one too.
Yeah, what more do you say? I mean, all heavyweights participated. That was a good thing. We were talking in the morning, Agam, about how FMCG can only carry the index thus far, and you need some of the others to participate. We had thought that it will be banks which will do that, and banks and financials did that to a little bit. But Reliance Industries participating. Titan, after the numbers and the operational numbers, 7% higher, and in its small way participating. Doing very well, and today was a slightly different day in that the small cap index, which hitherto the last 4 or 5 sessions has not quite beaten the mid cap space, actually do much better, 1.89% on the small cap space. So the market breadth was also fairly positive. I'm really interested in looking at the end of the day numbers today. The last 3 days we've had support from the DIIs, but FIs have continued to sell. It'll be interesting to see, just looking at the nature of the stocks that have moved up, that maybe the FI community has bought in, because you don't normally see a Bajaj Finance do what it did today, or an HDFC Bank do what it did today. 2-3% is not just local retail buying. There has to be some institution and money involved out here. It's very interesting to see how that shapes up. But yeah, good day of trade. You can't really find fault with this. And as you said, Agam, very rightly, reverting back to the levels from where we started off the budget day.
Right. Well, fair enough. Well, that's positive. Well, thanks for that perspective there, Neeraj. That's as far as your stocks, or rather your markets are concerned. I'm going to very quickly talk about stocks, and we have already spoken enough about Titan, but I'm just going to pull up this particular chart out here. We already know about the results. Steady earnings coming through in line with expectations, positive in terms of growth and margins. This is the last time we saw a gap down for Titan that was eventually filled. And last November, again, we saw a gap down in Titan. And once again, today's day of trade is where we saw that gap being filled in. So if you do have Titan, at least anecdotally, it does seem that if it's seen a gap down, eventually at some point in time, we can count on it for it to recover those losses. That's the positive story on Titan. And of course, we already know about the numbers. So we do have a near 10% growth on jewelry sales, about 2.5% decline in watches, but that was already accounted for by the share price, considering the quarterly update came through. Eyewear is a relatively smaller segment, but we are looking at subdued weakness. The positive, of course, is that the jewelry segment did grow by as much as 11%, within the guided range of 11 to 13%, and we saw an overall consolidated expansion in EBITDA margins for Titan, and that's probably the reason why a lot of investors and traders have bought into that stock. From there on, let's talk about one other company on the indices, and that's Adani Ports. And I'm going to get in Somit Sarkar to talk to us about that. Somit, what do you have for us?
Well, operationally, the numbers were below estimate. I'll go through the headline numbers first. The revenues were up to 2.8%. EBITDA was marginally higher, close to 1,853 crore rupees. Margins came in low at around 63.9%, while the net profit was down 4% to close to 1,352. On the operational side, if you see, the cargo volumes were up 5%, in line with what analysts were expecting, at close to 56 million metric tons. So what aided the numbers? Well, higher other income, a fair value gain which was recorded, aided the bottom line number, because the bottom line number was expected to be 17% lower, but has come in only 4% low because of these two factors. While on the flip side, foreign exchange loss and higher finance cost did impact the net profit number in the third quarter of financial year 2020. So other income, that was up 43%, and in this quarter the company also recorded some fair value gains of nearly 494 crore rupees arising from an agreement with Total. And on the negative side, if you see, the foreign exchange loss of nearly 145 crore rupees that was reported by Adani Ports, as against a foreign exchange gain of nearly 370 crore rupees reported last year. And also the finance cost for the company, that was up 34% to close to 467 crore rupees compared to 352 crore rupees reported by the company last year. So overall, if you see, it is an operationally below numbers, but the bottom line number looks ahead of analyst estimates, and that's mainly on the back of higher other income and a fair value gain that the company has reported in the third quarter of financial year 2020.
Thanks so much for that, Somit. That's their view on Adani Ports. And from there on, we move on to Piramal Enterprises, which also was one of those stocks which did see a substantial up move in today's day of trade. We had the earnings there. I'm going to get Shefali Malik in to tell us about the earnings here. Shefali.
Well, the earnings, the net profit at least went up 20% to 724 crores versus 602 in the same quarter last year, and revenues moved up 9% to about 3,805 crores. So, every quarter the analysts keep analyzing the asset quality, that despite the high real estate exposure, the NPAs don't seem to move up. But in this quarter, there has been quite a bit of a jump, almost doubled from 0.9% at the end of September quarter to 1.8% at the end of third quarter. So it remains to be seen from where those NPAs are coming from. The management has said in the press release that some of the accounts moved from stage 2 assets to stage 3. So that's what added to the gross NPAs. And aside of that, at the time of Davos interview, the management had said that there is one more round of fundraising left, that is in the pharma business. And in the release, they continue to say the same, that they plan to raise additional equity for pharma business, and that will be the next step towards value unlocking in the company. So that's what Piramal Enterprises, key notable NPAs have inched up.
Okay, Shefali, thanks for getting us that update on Piramal Enterprises. So while the numbers do look good, there is of course that increase in gross NPA ratios that we've seen for Piramal. But again, we are heading into the last 1.5 weeks as far as the earnings is concerned, and there's going to be some crucial ones too. So we'll keep an eye on that one as well. But on that note, it's a wrap on the markets, but there's lots more lined up. Stay tuned to BloombergQuint.